Hello everyone, welcome back, or welcome, if you are new, to my channel. Warning, this video contains bad words, mentions of blood, and mentions of death. Keep watching this video only if these topics don't bother you. I remind you that this video is made for fun, the characters don't belong to me, and their characterization is out of character. Having said that, enjoy. After a few hours, Sakusa suddenly woke up, holding his forehead with one hand, due to the severe pain he felt. Then Sakusa looked around, and he noticed that he was sitting on a large branch of a tree, with his back resting against the huge trunk, at an indefinite height from the ground. How the hell had he got there, if he had been asleep the whole time? Maybe Sakusa was a sleepwalker and he didn't know it? Are you awake? An unknown voice startled Sakusa, and, as soon as he looked up, he saw a boy who looked very much like one of those two monsters he saw before. Sakusa, then, tried to back away from that boy, squeezing even more against the trunk, but his hand lost grip with the trunk and Sakusa almost slipped off the tree. But, luckily for him, the other boy grabbed Sakusa by the wrist and, with a natural force, pulled him up, until he returned to the branch. But the blonde pulled too hard and Sakusa found himself lying on top of the stranger, who laughed. "Who are you? And what do you want from me? Do you want to kill me too?" Wait. I'm Atsumu and no, I don't want to kill you. But you look like that. Don't compare me to that monster. Who tells me you don't really want to kill me? I don't eat humans, especially if they are boys and if they are cute. Sakusa glared at Atsumu, but after covering his cheeks, which had turned red due to the indirect compliment that Atsumu had given him. Atsumu had set his gaze on Sakusa, noticing how his black eyes constantly shifted in search of a way to escape from that situation. How did I get here? Atsumu awoke from the trance state in which he was studying Sakusa, and sighed, looking up at the sky, looking at the full moon. "I took you here. My brother and his boyfriend had surrounded you, and I intervened. I fought with my brother and managed to catch you before the two of them did. So you're like the two of them?" Atsumu, at that question, chuckled and looked at Sakusa, who had his gaze on his feet, as he was too scared to look at Atsumu in the eyes. "Yes, I'm a vampire too. But, unlike them, I don't go hunting for humans. Not because I hate humans, on the contrary, I wish I could be their friend." Sakusa shifted his gaze to Atsumu's face, noticing how his reddish eyes were much duller than those of the other two vampires, and the same was for his skin which, although it was white, seemed much duller. "And if you don't eat humans, what do you usually eat?" "I eat animals, although sometimes I'm forced by my clan leader to eat humans." Atsumu shrugged and invited Sakusa to sit closer to him, to let him admire how beautiful the full moon was seen from that height, which made the moon even closer. Sakusa, albeit a little hesitant, moved slowly and sat next to Atsumu, then raised his eyes and pointed them at the moon, remaining fascinated by its beauty. "Do you always come here?" Atsumu nodded, taking a few minutes of silence before answering Sakusa. "Let's say this is a bit of my home. I don't get along very well with my clan, and this leads me to escape, and I often find myself here, alone." "You don't get along even with my twin brother?" "No, indeed, maybe it's the hatred I feel for him that has turned me against the whole clan. He has always been the favorite of the whole group, and when we were still alive, he stole everything from me, my friends, my first girlfriend, my parents' love. But I managed to keep a friend, who then moved to Tokyo from Hyogo. Sorry if I ask you, but how did you become a vampire?" "Shortly after this friend of mine left, I was victim of a car accident, and both my brother and I died. And I was brought back to life by drinking vampire blood." "So you were a human, then you died and became a vampire?" Atsumu nodded, swinging his legs and sighing at the memory of his life. "Do you remember something from your past life?" "No, I don't remember anything. I hardly remember how my parents look like. Every now and then, however, the blurred image of that child comes to mind, but it's only a shadow." "And do you prefer to be a vamp?" Atsumu put a hand on Sakusa's mouth, immediately interrupting his speech, and pushed him back, making him lean his back against the trunk, so that Osamu couldn't see Sakusa. In the silent air, Atsumu could perceive the smell of his twin Osamu and Suna, who were approaching them, and he could also hear what they were saying. Sakusa, meanwhile, was shaking and wide-eyed at Atsumu, as he wanted to scream and get rid of the fear that was slowly devouring him alive. "Oh you idiot, are you always on that tree?" Atsumu swore under his breath, forgetting that Osamu and Suna could hear him anyway. "Now I understand why you can't make friends, since you're always alone. Shut up, you piece of shit. What did you come here for? Atsumu, give us the human and we won't do anything to you. Fair exchange, right?" Osamu and Suna laughed for a few seconds, then turned their red eyes into Atsumu's dull ones, and became serious again. "Which human? I'm here alone. The one you stole from us earlier." "Oh, you're talking about him? I'd say no, I'll keep him." "Atsumu, stop being a baby and give us the boy. Or should we call Kita?" "Call him. It's not that since Kita is the leader, then he scares me." Osamu sighed, and decided to put aside his hatred for his brother, to try to convince him with good manners. "Can you at least get off?" Nope." After a few seconds, Osamu appeared behind Atsumu's shoulders, grabbed his neck with a cold hand and came dangerously close to his ear. Sakusa, on the other hand, felt like he was dying inside, while Atsumu was impassive. "Now, Atsumu, either you give us the human, or Rin and I will not hesitate to kill you, traitor." Osamu's grip on Atsumu's neck grew stronger and stronger, to the point that his sharp nails penetrated the blonde skin, thus releasing warm blood. With a quick move, Atsumu grabbed Osamu's hand, and, after removing it from his neck, squeezed it in his, almost breaking it. Then Atsumu grabbed Sakusa's hand, and, after taking him on the back, climbed down from the tree, and at great speed began to run, while Sakusa was holding on to the vampire's neck, while blood was soiling his shirt. Osamu, then, still holding his hand in pain, glanced at Suna who, after smiling meanly, nodded and started running, chasing Sakusa and Atsumu. After a good half hour of tiring running, Atsumu stopped and Sakusa got off his back, staggering a bit due to the vampire's speed. Then, Atsumu grabbed Sakusa's hand again and put the other hand on the raven's mouth. So the two boys began to walk slowly, making as little noise as possible, while they were ambushing among the dense trees, looking for a hiding place. After other interminable minutes, Atsumu and Sakusa stopped and sat at the bottom of a tree, believing that they have managed to disseminate Osamu and Suna, and Sakusa, completely driven by fear, clung to Atsumu, grabbing and squeezing his arm. "Did we disseminate them? I'll control. You stay seated." Atsumu got up from his seat and began to look around, noticing that there was no one nearby. But as soon as Atsumu turned to Sakusa to reassure him that they were able to see them, a figure grabbed the necks of both boys, who, from that moment on, saw only darkness.